Hey guys, today we'll be talking about GFCI's ground fault circuit interrupter. We're gonna show you what they look like. First of all, this is just a typical GFCI. The only difference between these two, this is a 20 amp GFCI and this is 15 amp. The way you tell the difference, if you see this white one has a little notch across. This is a 20 amp GFCI, and the one that has a regular notch from top to bottom like this is a 15 amp. So the same thing with the regular receptacles. This has a notch, so that's a 20 amp, and this just a straight notch, that's a 15 amp receptacle outlet. So I made a little example right here how to wire a GFCI and in series. So we're gonna wire a GFCI outlet. If you look in the back, you got 4 screws and 5th screw is the ground. The gold screws, they're the hot side, or this is the power. The other side of the outlet is kind of silver screws. There are for neutral, for the white wire. And if you look on the back side, it actually tells you which side is line, which side is load. This side right here, the bottom, it's a line side. Line side, pretty much you land the wires coming from the power lines, coming from your breaker panel, your home run. It goes here. And then if you gotta feed other outlets and you wanna protect them by this GFCI, you wanna put it on the load side. So I'm gonna show you in a second how to wire it. So here I ran the home run pretty much. I'm gonna use this as example. See, this is just pretty much I'm gonna plug this into receptacle when I'll be ready. And this is the pretty much, we're gonna pretend that this is coming from your fuse box or circuit breaker box. So this is going to your line side of your GFCI protector, and this feeds the second outlet, regular outlet, but we're gonna use it as a GFCI protected outlet. So pretty much when this GFCI trips, it disconnects the power to this outlet. Alright, let's move on and I'll show you how you do it. Alright, we gotta make a pigtail for the GFCI, so we're gonna put these together, and I use a pigtail wire that's gonna connect to your GFCI outlet. So we're gonna put these 3 wires together and put a wire nut and twist it pretty tight. Then just tack this wire all the way in the back so it won't be on the way. Now the GFCI, remember the gold screws, they're your black wires, your hot wires. the line on the bottom. So we're gonna connect the black wire to your line and just tighten it. Your white wire also to the bottom. Make sure you don't put it to the top, because the GFCI won't work. You gotta have the line coming from your panel on the same the lower part of the receptacle GFCI. If you're gonna put it to the top, it won't work properly. It won't trip. And your load side, same thing. White wire is your neutral. It's gonna go to your brass, not a brass, but actually silver screw. And your black wire is gonna go to the other side of the GFCI, to the gold screw. So remember that the gold screws, they're going to the hot side of the outlet, and also the hot side slot has a smaller slot than the neutral side. Neutral side is a bigger slot, and this is obviously the ground hole. Then your ground wire goes to the bottom, to the ground screw, the green screw usually, and you just tighten it. Make sure the ground wire is not touching either side of this outlet. If the ground screw is gonna be touching your hot side or your gold screw, it will just trip the breaker. And if the ground's gonna touch your neutral side, it's gonna be tripping your GFCI. Basically, the whole purpose of GFCI, if you have water, if there is gonna be water between the hot and the ground, it's gonna trip. I mean, it's gonna, even regular, if you're gonna put like a jumper between the ground and your hot, it's just gonna trip your breaker. But if you're gonna use a regular receptacle and there's gonna be water or water between the ground and a neutral, regular receptacle, it won't trip your breaker or fuse. So what the GFCI does, it detects the short between the ground and the neutral, and basically then it trips your GFCI protected circuit. Then you gotta reset it after you get the water out and dry it and stuff. So let's now let's wire this 15 amp outlet. So the ground wire, let me move this camera so you can see better. So the ground goes to your gold, to your green screw, to your ground screw. Your neutral wire, which is white, goes to your silver screw, the bigger slot side. And your hot wire, black wire, power wire, goes to the gold screw. power, gold screw, small slot, and you just pretty much secure it. And just to show you how it works, I'm gonna plug this extension cord in and power up the GFCI circuit. Now I'm gonna show you how to test the GFCI circuit. So I'm gonna use my Fluke multimeter. I'm gonna set it to voltage setting, voltage AC. I'm gonna check if there is power right now present in my GFCI outlet. So first of all, I'm gonna see if there is power coming from my panel. Obviously I'm using just extension cord, and right now it shows 121 volt. Now this GFCI being tripped, it shouldn't show me any voltage presence, and it shows me 0 volts right now. When I'm gonna reset this GFCI, if this GFCI works properly, you should see voltage. Alright, this GFCI is bad. It's I used this, I actually took it out of the job site and it was damaged by water. So even though I reset this GFCI, the voltage is going to it, but it's only showing 15-16 volts, and it's supposed to be showing 121 volts. So right now I'm gonna replace this GFCI, because even if I'm gonna trip it, look, it trips, it goes to 0 volts, but when you reset it, it's supposed to go directly to 121 volts, but it's staying at 16 volts. So that tells me the contacts are burned inside of here, inside of the GFCI. So for showing purposes and for troubleshooting, I installed this GFCI. So right now I'm gonna replace it with a good GFCI, and then we'll troubleshoot and see how that's gonna work out. Alright guys, I just replaced the GFCI. I put a different one. Now we're gonna test it again. I'm gonna put my red lead into my smaller slot, which is the hot side. So right now we got the voltage. We got the voltage in GFCI. And let's see if we have the voltage in our outlet. And we have 122 volt in our outlet. Let's trip this GFCI. So when you trip it, you pretty much have 2 volts, which is pretty much down to 0. Let's reset it. We got 122 volts. Trip it again. We got 1 volt. Well, which is pretty much 0, but it just reads through GFCI. Let's see what's gonna happen if you get water between the ground. This is the ground pin and my neutral, not the hot side, the neutral. If you're gonna have a dead short, for instance, if you're gonna put the wire in between the hot and the ground, or hot and neutral, you're gonna trip the breaker if you have a good breaker. If you have a bad breaker, you can have a fire. So alright, so be careful. Don't just play around. Alright, I'm gonna have, for instance, if I'm gonna have water between the neutral and ground, let's see if this GFCI is gonna trip. You're just seeing that the voltage dropped and the GFCI tripped. That's how GFCI works, and that's how you wire it. And this is the way I troubleshoot the GFCI circuit. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or you want to see some other videos, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.